Hello, darling. How you loving? How you loving? Well, if we have not met, I'm Reverend Valerie Love, coming to you from my home in Merida, Mexico. I have on this new witch hat. I don't know how I'm feeling about it. This is called the Modern Witch Hat. I just got it from, y'all let me know how it looks. What are your thoughts in the comments? Let me know. I tried to do a little dip. How you loving? Happy Witchy Wednesday. Happy Witchy Wednesday. I'm coming to you from my home in Mexico. Happy Witchy Wednesday. Oh, we're going to have a delicious conversation today. And I promise you that the fundamentalist Christians will be mad at me by the time we finish this conversation. I promise you that much. You know, it's always something with Kaisi. I promise you that. So this is called the Modern Witch Hat. Wendigo heart, beautiful, thank you. Hey, look at all our peeps, look at all our peeps. Come on in. Loving life with Ray, I love you, Merch Life. Hey, what's up, Merch Life is in the house. How you loving? And oh my goodness, it's going so fast. Lydia Morton, how you loving? God bless. Peace and love, people, peace and love. Peace and love. So let's get down to our conversation tonight, in this conversation, because it may not be night when you're watching it, because this conversation is going to live forever on YouTube, and it's also backed up on Library LBRY, and you can also watch. Hey, Mary Beth, how you loving? Blessed be, welcome, come on in. And it's also on LBRY because you know YouTube has been touch and go. I don't know. And this cancel culture out here, and this woke mob is out here in these streets. Next thing you know, you never know. And I can't have 1,000 videos just go poof like that in the night. Too many people have awakened to log into their YouTube channel, and it's gone with a flip of a switch. We can't have that. We cannot have that. So Spirit already put me on top before all that started breaking off. That's another conversation, and that is in our that's on the channel. So I opened a LBRY, and you can watch it. It's a blockchain application. You can watch it on Odyssey. That is a digital platform for watching video. All my videos are there. If y'all ever wake up and are looking for Kaisi on YouTube, and you can't find Kaisi, I'm telling you where to go. I'm telling you in advance where to go. Because my mouth will not be silenced for nobody. And I am not editing my words for anyone, not for a platform, not for anyone. We're telling the truth around here. We're speaking it, whether there are some people that want to hear it and some people that don't. All good. If people don't like it, I don't know why they got to cancel people. Just go watch something that you do like. I mean, it's something for everybody, baby. It's something for everybody. Let's not fight. Let's look. Can't we all just get along? That's what I was watching the other day. I was watching, and then we're going to get into it. I was watching Sly and the Family Stone on that summer, the Black Summer Soul movie. It's so good. It's so good. I was on a plane and I was watching it. And I got to tell you, smash up the likes. Mwah. Thank you for the like and the love. Thank you for that. Smash up the likes. Smash up the love. This is the Modern Witch Hat going on today. That's what we got for Witchy Wednesday. And, you know, that song, I am everyday people. There is the black one who won't accept the white one, who won't accept the yellow one. Different strokes for different folks. And so on and so on. I mean, Sly and the Family Stone already told you what to do, baby. They told you to love. They told you to love everybody. Okay? Love everybody. Just reach out and give the whole world a hug. Love everybody. Love all your kids, your grandkids. Love all races and colors and creeds, whether you can understand them or not. Love all the transgender. Love all the LGBTQIA community. Love everybody. Baby, just love everybody. You can't go wrong with love. You cannot go wrong with love. Just love everybody because the world always needs more love. All you need is love. I promise you that. The Beatles told you to. All you need is love. Let's get down to our conversation. Does the Bible condemn witchcraft? And if it does, what's the deal? What's the deal with Deuteronomy? What's the deal, Kaisi? Because you're running around in these streets talking about Christian witch, and all the Christians are saying, no. And my Christian family, you know, I'm magical, and I want to still go to church, but the Christians say, no, no, no. Or I got crystals, but I still don't mean I hate Jesus just because I bought some crystals. The Christians you can't even go into the crystal shop, baby. You can't even go into the metaphysical shop without the Christian saying, plead the blood. Plead the blood. I'm in a shampoo shop. They start speaking tongues. It's just a metaphysical shop, people. It's the devil. You know, everything is the devil. Well, let's talk about it. Calm your jets. Maybe it's not all the devil. Okay. Chill out, people. Chill out. Let's talk about it. And let's talk about it from the perspective of archaeology. Let's talk about it from the perspective of psychology. Let's talk about it from the standpoint of history. Let's talk about it from genealogy. Let's look at these different experiences. I love what Ravanya is saying. She said, crystals are just God's frequency bookmarks. Damn! I love that. That is delicious. That's probably one of the best definitions of crystals that I've heard. So we understand where the Christians stand. The Christians are like, no, witch, no. And I'm going to be on my Instagram today, the Christian Witches Instagram today. If you don't follow the Christian Witches Instagram, follow it. It's Christian Witches, at Christian Witches. Everything is at Christian Witches. Facebook, at Christian Witches. Christian Witches on YouTube. Christian Witches is a community, global community, right? People that know they're magical and they didn't just throw out the Bible, or they have Christian background, or they know about Catholic prayers, and they use the Catholic prayers in magic, or they use the Psalms in magic. Psalms are powerful magical spells and protective spells as well. So we understand where the Christians are coming from. Let's now talk history. Let's talk fact. The first thing we want to go to is, hey, Linda, how you loving? The first thing we want to go to is this. Where are people referencing that witchcraft? Let's go to the origin. Where are they referencing that witchcraft, evil? Oh my God, no, it's devil, it's the devil, it's the devil. Where are they referencing? What is the reference point? So let's go to those reference points. You will find a reference point in Exodus, Leviticus, and in Deuteronomy. The first 5 books of the Bible, also known as the Pentateuch. The Pentateuch are supposedly the 5 books written by Moses, and I say supposedly because Moses couldn't have wrote about his whole death as he does in the book of Deuteronomy. So we understand that these books had to have been written much later than purported. So first, hey Jason, how you loving? So supposedly, Exodus, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy are the 3 notorious books that supposedly condemn witchcraft. Well, let's go to the original source material for these books of the Bible. Oh my God. Just gain understanding, right, family? Give this to all your Christian friends that are hounding you and telling you, stop listening to that witch. She gonna take you straight to hell, baby. Give this video to all your Christian friends so we can come to understanding. If you go to the original source material, now many of you know that the word witch is wrongly translated in the Bible, and you know that there was a word that meant poisoner, right? Which they just saw poisoner, witch. And before the word poisoner, there was a word that indicated maleficarum or maleficium. What is maleficium? Doing bad things to people, cursing their property, making a man dick fall off because he broke somebody's heart, cursing the horse. Yeah, because back then people had horses, right? They didn't have cars, right? Hell was born Witchy Pigeon. Oh, Witchy Pigeon from Instagram. Yeah, you like that shirt? They carried on about that shirt. So this word, maleficium, this is the original word. Then it was translated. Does maleficium I agree that you should be practicing maleficum. I don't think you should be cursing your neighbor. I don't think you should be cursing your neighbor's farmland. I don't think you should be cursing your neighbors. I don't think you should be cursing the man. If the man was having sex with you and it was good and then he left you for another woman, I don't think you should curse him and make his dick fall off or make it shrivel up. I agree. Those are not the ways that we handle things. So this maleficium is a very specific statement. It's a very specific word. Now let's go deeper. So we already are getting the understanding, maybe it's not talking about everybody that picks up a crystal. Don't be ridiculous. Everybody that makes a potion. Oh my God, the devil. I'm going to tell you, if you just hang with me, I'm going to tell you where all these things came from. And then you can just dispel it. Why? So you can dispel the fear. Stop being afraid to do your magic. Stop being afraid to be a magical being. Yes, family? Okay. So let's go to the original people who originally received this word. Who did they receive the word from? Yahweh. Who is Yahweh? Yahweh was the God of Israel. Actually, the God of Hebrew people, right? The ones who were the wilderness dwellers. Yahweh was their God. And what did it say? If you read the whole Bible, read Genesis to Deuteronomy, read the whole Pentateuch, and then read the whole Bible. Why not? Go for it. If you read it, you understand that it didn't say don't do divination. Of course they did divination. They had the Urim and the Thummim. That was divination that came from their God. And I say God, Yahweh, because if you go deeper into Yahweh, who Yahweh is, you understand that he's not the supreme ultimate source. He is a God, pretty much a lesser God. He is not Almighty God. Yahweh told them, he gave them instructions. He told them, y'all are my people. Now, can I ask you a question? If you're not Israel, if Israel, if that's not your heritage, the whole Hebrew Bible is not for you anyway. I said it. You can read it. Read it like Aesop's fables and get the wisdom from it. That book wasn't written for you. I'm telling you, that book was not written for you. But everyone takes all the Hebrew Bible, the original Hebrew, the Hebrew Bible, also known as the Old Testament, and the New Testament, they smashed it all together and called it one book from Genesis to Revelation, like you're reading a fucking novel. That's not it, family. This whole book didn't come together this whole book wasn't written all together. This is 66 different books that were accepted into the canon. And then, of course, we know there are hundreds more that were not accepted into the canon. So let's not act like this is one contiguous book for all humanity. It's not. It was a group of regional writings for a specific group of people. I don't know why people don't understand that when they read it, it's very clear that this was written. I sat down and read the whole book of Deuteronomy. I've read it many times. It's very clear that they're talking to a specific group of people living in a specific place at a specific point in time. Now let's prove it. In the same chapter of Deuteronomy where it says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, or whatever Christians like to spout at us, Christians, get some more ingenious, creative, and most of all, informed retorts or things that you want to lob at a Christian witch. Become more imaginative, because you'll say the same shit all the time. It's ugly. Y'all say the same three things. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. You can't be a Christian witch. You're going to hell. I mean, come on, be more creative. We done heard it all. Y'all all say the same. It's like 3 or 4 patterned responses, canned responses. Y'all are robots. You're going to hell. That ain't nothing but the devil. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. It's like robots. I'm like, is anybody having a really intelligent conversation about this? No, the Bible condemns witchcraft. Okay, is that all you have to add to the conversation? Bye, boo. Bye, Felicia. Because you have nothing intelligent to add to the discourse. Go read the fucking research. It's called YouTube University. Go buy some books. when God had a wife, even if you don't agree with the books. I don't agree with everything I read in every book. I'm going to read books. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to feed my mind. I'm not going to just be a dumbass dunce and believe anything people tell me. That's what a lot of Christians have become. They've been told a line, a story. They believe it, and they spout it with no critical thinking, with no research into archaeology, history, philosophy. What were the people thinking at the time? What were their religious practices? What were their magical practices? None of that. They just one simple thing, and that's it. How dumb is that? When we're talking about matters of the soul. Now, if we were talking about how you make fried chicken, no big deal. I mean, they made fried chicken with grease. Great. We're not talking about making fried chicken. We're talking about matters of the soul. Doesn't it matter? It matters. What matters more than your soul? Not many things. Okay? Not many things. Okay? So that's what happens with Christians coming to the room. We're gonna have some dumbass we're gonna have to turn our intelligence down to probably level 2, because here the Christians are. And I'm not talking about all Christians, because I'm Christian. I'm a Christian witch, which means I don't follow a religion. I acknowledge Christ as a wonderful master teacher, and I desire to live my life in the way that for the teachings of Christ. Whether he was a real person, a historical person or not, doesn't really matter to me. I am more interested in living my life in a certain way that brings utmost benefit to myself, my neighbors, my children, all of humanity, and the whole cosmos. That's what Christ represents for me. For you, you just have to, go your own. What does it mean for you? That's why Christian Witches is not a religion. Christian Witches is a spiritual path. Witchcraft, for me, practice is not a religion. Now, for some people, it is a religion. That's why you've got to make it heads or tails of it for yourself. Critical thinking, study to show that self-approved. The first thing in the witch's pyramid is to know, to will, to dare, to keep silence. To know, to will, to dare, to keep silence. That's the pyramid of the witch. The witch's pyramid. The first one is to know what the fuck you're talking about. And you're talking about what you're talking about because you went and you researched it. You took upon yourself your own independent study on matters of the soul. You didn't just take somebody else's word for it in church and go in church and, yes, preach, pastor, and the witch is evil. Yeah, that's right. The witch is evil. Well, do we know why the witch is evil? No. Did anybody look up anything? No. Do we know what the word witch really means when we read the Bible? No, who cares? We need some people. We need some enemies. We need people to hate. We need people to shame. Get on board. Get on side with our shaming. Get on board with the gift we're dishing out. Come on now. Aren't you a believer? Yes, I'm a believer. Well, come on and start believing. Believe what we tell you to believe. Okay. Now, let's go further. I can't do that anymore. I did that for 26 years. I sat there with the Bible. I did everything they told me to do. 26 freaking years. And I still didn't get my questions answered. And I knew when I was asking too many questions because they said, Valerie, and they gave me a sideways look. You can't question God. I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning y'all because God is not telling me all this stuff. Y'all are. God is telling me something very different in here. This is source in here speaking to you and saying, run. That's what God is telling me right now. Say, run. Get out of here. Which eventually I did. I got the hell up out of Dodge. Now, let's go further. So we've already established a few things in this very important conversation that we're having. Number one, that you must look at the Bible from a multi-dimensional perspective. You cannot look at the Bible and think that it is simply a book. Everything I read in it, I'm going to take to heart, because in the very same chapter where it says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. In the same chapter, it says, if your kids are bad, stone them to death. And it also says, don't eat seafood. But I see a whole lot of Christians at the crab feast. Come for me, Christians. Try it. Then you can't go to no more crab feasts. Because Deuteronomy says, the Bible says, Deuteronomy said you can't eat no shellfish, no shrimp for you, no lobster, no crab. I am a witch that reads the Bible. No shrimp for you. No seafood, no shrimp for you. Plus, on Saturday, I don't see you quiet in the Sabbath. I see our Jewish brethren as brothers and sisters and other sisters, brothers and others. I see the Jewish family. Oh, they got that Sabbath locked down. You Christians, y'all sleeping on the fucking job. Talking about, oh no, we don't have to keep the Sabbath anymore because Jesus came. How convenient is that? It's a convenience. Okay, so let's go further. In that same chapter, if it says, kill the witch, and it also says, kill the children if they bad, is anyone going to follow that? Is anyone going to take that as a command for today? Do you take that as a command? Is that even in the realm of possibilities to kill your kids if they're bad? If they're bad and they won't listen to you and you can't talk some sense into them, bring your kids out to the town square in the middle of the wilderness. Bring them to everybody, in front of everybody. We're going to stone your kids to death. Who's going to do that? It says it in the same place, because if you look deeply at this, Yahweh God is pretty bloodthirsty hellion. This God came straight out of, I wouldn't worship that God. I wouldn't touch that God with a 10-foot pole. I'm telling you, that God is a horror. That God is a shit show. If you read the Bible according to, and I'm saying it, that's why people be trying to write little blog posts about me. And why I don't know that they do. People tell me, they got something, they say something about you. Okay. Very funny that they got so much time to look at me and say things about me rather than get up and say your own truth. I'm speaking my own truth. You don't need to cancel anybody else's truth or rebut anyone else's truth. Speak your truth. Write your blog post about you and where you're coming from, because those are only blog posts I write about. You never see me write a blog post about somebody else. I never say anything about anybody else. I'm not looking at nobody else. I'm doing what I'm here to do, which is set the captives free. Okay. Including myself, because my mind was shackled. Now, we've already established a few things in this conversation, and then now we're going to go deeper. So we've already established, just to give a little recap, we've already established that Deuteronomy obviously was not to be taken literally in totality for you living today. We've already established that if you're not of the house of Israel, why do you even think that it's binding upon you at all? We've already also established that the word maleficium that is in the Bible, the original source material, that referred to people who are doing harmful things. Mal, it tells you in the wording, mal means bad, means you are doing bad things to other people. And we've also established that if you ain't gonna follow the rest of this shit in Deuteronomy, I don't think you want to follow one part. You can't cherry pick the Bible. You gonna do all of it or you're not gonna do none of it. Okay, let's go further. There were different kinds of magical people back in the day. There's always been magical people. They were called the wise women or the wise man, or the cunning man, or the cunning woman. That's what it was called in like the European area. Different in Africa, it was called the witch doctor. You see, in Peru and Mesoamerica, they were called shamans. And what did you go to these people for? You went to these people for very specific things. It could probably fall into about 3 categories. One, you had some misfortune fall upon you and you need a correction of the misfortune. Maybe you think someone put some witchcraft on you, or your crops failed, or somebody is ill. You have a misfortune of some kind, and you went to this person to correct the problem, and they did. Why do you think they're enduring? Why do you think witches are enduring? Which is the most enduring thing in all history? Every aspect of history has witches. Every culture has witches. Every single group of people on the entire planet, as long as there have been people, have witches. Why? Because you needed witches, because you went to them to get some problems solved. So that's the first area where magical people were very important to the whole of humanity. Magical people are still doing the same thing. They're still helping people solve problems. Okay? Like something has befallen upon you, and now you are getting this magical person to help you get it off. Bad energy. We have this right now. We do it right now. Number two, they would go to magical people for some kind of protection so something bad don't fall on you. So in other words, you find out you're pregnant. You're going to go to the magical practicing person, the wise woman, or basically one who knows. Like these people know. They know the energies of things. They know how to get in contact with other spirits like they know. And other people know that they know. You be like, go to so-and-so. And back in the day, at some point, there was not a 10-mile radius that you could go in any direction and not find a wise woman or a wise man, a witch, a shaman, a witch doctor. And guess what? Everyone knew where they were. And if the shit get too bad, you'd be like, I'll be back. You would go right on down the road to the cunning woman or the cunning man. They were just sitting there chilling, playing with their rocks or doing whatever the cunning man or the cunning woman does, or the one who knows. And you come in there with your problem, or you want protection. Let's say you found out you're pregnant. You find out you're pregnant. A lot of people, especially in the Jewish experience, used to have the thought that Lilith is going to come steal your baby while you're pregnant, when you get ready to give birth. Because their thought was that if you had a baby and the baby died in childbirth, or if you had a baby and the baby died of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, or things like that, child death, they used to call it crib death, Lilith came and got them. So obviously, if you are in that community, you are going to, the second you know you're pregnant, you're going to go to a cunning man, a cunning woman, a wise person, and you're going to get the amulets of protection. And this magical practicing person is going to make the amulet for you. They know the words, they know the incantations, they know the material to make the amulet from. They know the moon cycle to make it in. They know where you're supposed to put it. Maybe you're supposed to wear it around your neck as a charm covering your heart, or maybe you tie it about the belly of the woman who is going. There's one in the Bible, and this one that's in the Bible is the Archangel Raphael, who is the healer of God. That's his name, right? Well, in the book that is called the Book of Tobit, and it is not in the Hebrew Bible that we've gotten. It's not in the Bible canon. It is in the Apocrypha. So if you read the Apocrypha and you read the Pseudepigrapha, you will see in there a Book of Tobit. And in there, the Book of Tobit, Raphael tells, is it the Book of Tobit or is it the Testament of Solomon? I'm going to get it for you clear. And what it says is that you write out the name of Raphael, who is the healer of God, and you write out, it could be a statement, an incantation. You wrap it, of course, you're going to write it on something like a sheep's skin. Many times it was a little skin of a lamb, and it had to have been a virgin, right? It never had babies or anything like that. It's pure, and you take it, and maybe sometimes it had to be written by a virgin under the full moon or something like that, and maybe it had to be written in blood of a lamb or something killed under full moon. It was a lot of the cunning person knew what to do. You didn't have to know all of this. This was all in the book of the cunning person. So the cunning person would make this amulet, and then they would tie that amulet of the name of the archangel written out with an incantation, and it would roll it up, put it inside something metal or whatever the case may be. They would make the whole thing, and you would wrap it about your belly. This is going to now protect and be sort of this energy current. This is all energy current that is going to ward off any negative energy. And supposedly if Lilith saw this, she's just going to run away because Lilith doesn't want anything to do with it. So I'm not telling you that this is the absolute truth. I'm not telling you to believe it. I'm telling you things that people did. Okay? Now, if you go to this cunning person, we've already established the first two reasons why people go to the cunning person. Shalom. How you loving? How you loving? And family, talk to us in this conversation. Talk to us in this conversation. I love what you said, Ravanya. Magical people were the healers. Of course they endured. Of course. And you got all the witches still here. Now the witches are out in public. Before the witches, you had to know where to go to get them. Now you can find witches. You can find witches. You can find shaman. You can find cunning people, cunning folk. You can find all of these amazing beings. Yes. So we established the first two reasons why people would go to a magical practicing priest or a magical practitioner. The third reason that they would go to a magical practitioner is to maybe increase their fortunes, help them to now, because those other two, one was sort of defensive, that the middle one was defensive because you don't want something bad to happen to you. The first one was something bad happened to you and now you want to get this corrected. And the third one could be somewhat offensive. How can I find gold? How can I find who stole that would probably be in the first one because they would help you find things that were hidden. They would help you find things that were lost. They would help you find if somebody stole something from you, they could immediately, douse to their divination and tell you, oh, so-and-so stole it, they're the horse thief. And there you go, the horse is right there. How did they know all this information? No one would be going to these people and paying these people all this, and they wouldn't have endured if it wasn't working. Oh, it was working. And it still works. So the first two we've established. One is somewhat defensive. The other one is more protective. The first one is more, you got to get something off of you. The second one is more protective. I don't want something to happen to me. The third is you want to go out, have some good happen to you. You want to get some money. You want to increase your crops. You want to see what the future is like. Because they also did the fortune teller in the reading of the future. So you want to find this amazing mate. You want to get married. You want some bounty. You want a blessing on your crops. You want a bigger house. All of these things. And the magical practicing people would help you with all those things too, right? So these are the three big reasons. Trust me, family, none of this was strange. If you said you were going to the magical person, whatever they called it in your time and in your vicinity, they called it something else if you were in Ghana. They would call it something else if you were in Kemet or Kush or Egypt. They would call it something else if you were in London in the 1500s. They would call it something else if you were in Scotland in the 1300s. I mean, all through time, this is enduring. There's nothing new about this. Everyone knows what this is about, and everyone has experienced it. Let's go further. These people were not a problem. Because like we said, they were helping people. When did it get all discombobulated that all these people that were helping people, they weren't necessarily, they were the doctors, the healers, the way showers, the people, the astrologers, the people that could do all that. When did they get all lumped together with the Maleficium and go all dumped in the same category? It's all evil, which is a very naive, uninformed understanding of humanity. It's very naive. And I've got to tell you something. I've done so many tarot readings for Christian people. It's amazing. I mean, that's mostly who I've done tarot readings for, is Christian people. So if your Christianity was so good, why would you ask for a tarot reading and pay for it? Just questions. Let's go further. When did it all get dumped into this big, huge pot and a big evil red cross put on the outside? You have to understand that this is giving me AH coming to my I love that. This is, I haven't named this hat yet. Y'all throw some names in the chat because this is called a modern witch hat. I was just in Salem last week because this is being filmed during my birthday month in October. And I went to Salem for a few days during my birthday month because I love Salem in October. I love it. So I was in Salem and I saw everybody wearing these hats. And I was like, well, it doesn't have all the drama of a normal Kaisi witch hat, yay big. Yeah, I mean, and I actually wore it on a plane, and everywhere I went, people loved it. I went to Starbucks. Some little 3-year-old girl was near me, and her parents were there, and she was like, look, Mom, a witch. I love kids, because kids always know, boy, kids always say, look, whether I'm wearing this hat or not, kids know I'm magical. They can spot your magical ass 10 miles away, so can dogs and cats. It's just the grown-ups that are just, I don't believe in magic. Okay, suit yourself. Everybody ain't got to believe in magic. Suit yourself. Now, Let's go further. So, when did it happen that all of this got thrown into one big bucket of it's evil? Here's how to, because you have to look at how did these things unfold? Where did it come from? Who made this thing up? Because it's clear God didn't make it up because it keeps changing. If you lived in the 15th century, it's different from now. And if you lived in the first century, it's different from now. And if you lived in 700 BC, it's different from now. God doesn't change, but the thing keeps on changing because people change, situations change, cultures change. You don't know what people were doing when the Bible was written. So why would you think that you're going to do the exact same thing that that you did when the Bible was being written? It doesn't even make sense. There's no leeway for you to evolve and grow. I mean, we have mobile phones now. I'm not saying mobile phones are a reason not to believe the Bible. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we must take into consideration what words mean now and what the words meant then. There was no word witch when the Bible was written. So to even have the word witch in the Bible is inaccurate. I talked about this on the podcast. If you're listening to the Christian Witches podcast, yay! If you haven't found out about the Christian Witches podcast yet, yay! Get in the Christian Witches podcast. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify. I love it. Also, hop in the Christian Witches Club on Clubhouse because we do Sunday service, inspirational service on Sunday mornings on Clubhouse, Christian Witches Church Service Inspiration. Yay! And the mystery school is now open for enrollment, so you can actually be initiated as a Christian witch. So go to christianwitches.com initiation and watch the initiation webinar and then join us in the mystery school. Woo! Yay! The mystery school is open. And we have some amazing okay, pardon me. There was a little chime ringing on my phone. So let's go further. When did it, you see the progression of things, that we progress from everybody needs a witch to kill all the witches. How did we get here? Very simple. There began to be a story, I call it a conspiracy theory, that was made up about all these people that practice the magical arts. This was the story they made up. These people are in league with Satan, the devil. These witches, this was all made up. These witches have a Sabbath. They go into the woods at night. They mate with the devil and his demons, these grotesque figures. They eat and they have the feast in the woods, in the wilderness. They strip off all their clothes and they have this unholy. You've heard this story before. It's a totally made up story. I don't know no fucking witch that did that. I don't know no witch that ever had sex with the devil. No, I mean it could be witches that have had sex with the devil. I'm not doubting it. I don't doubt anything. I'm saying I've never done it. I don't know anybody else that does it. Thank you. Okay. So I don't know anything about that. Going into the woods, yeah, we go into the woods. Yeah, we go into the woods at night. Yeah, we dance naked. I've danced naked. I mean, who hasn't danced naked? If you haven't danced naked, you really locked down. You have a bigger problem than Christian Witch if you never danced naked. You got a real problem. But anyway, I digress. So they made up this story. Here comes the propaganda. Do you understand that anyone that they start to make a propaganda agenda for, they're about to take them down. This happens every time there's a war. Before we can fight a war, because people are not going to just pay taxpayer money for you to just rush out and just be killing people indiscriminately. That's why every time a government is going to make a war, they first do a propaganda smear campaign. They are the enemy. They're bad. Why? Because they're trying to do this, that, or the other. They're horrible. People believe it because they keep hearing it over and over and over and over again. So this story just kept getting conflated. You know how these stories get conflated. We have a ton of conspiracy theories right now that people actually believe. Well, And maybe they believe them for good reason, because a lot of conspiracy theories may have one little element of some kind of truth. Can you do a video on scripting in 33 times 3 and 44 times 4? Thanks. Ooh, Immuna. That is a good question. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. So people say, oh, they went and they go into the woods and they have these. And so what began to happen here? What began to happen is that this person who is helping people who had these powers, abilities, they're now being propagandized that these people, when you're not around, they're going into the wilderness having sex with the devil. Well, so what? There's no problem having sex with the devil. I mean, it's not against the law. Here's where they said the problem came in. The problem comes in is that the devil is trying to take down Christendom, the church. Therefore, these witches are in service of the devil, who has one aim: take down the church and all the saints down to hell, to his domain. And because this is his chief aim, to get all the saints, take down Christendom, take down the whole church, the witches are doing his bidding on the earth plane, because supposedly women are more naive and gullible and will fall for this devil thing. He won't come to no men. How misogynistic is that? Okay. Just like, more of Adam and Eve. Eve was the problem. Okay. Anywho, let's continue with this strange story. So because it now morphed into these people are the enemy of God and the finger of the devil himself on the planet, therefore we got to take them down because they're coming for us. It became, if we don't kill them, they're going to kill us. They're going to get all of us, and we all going to be in hell. Oh my God, kill the witches. Get your pitchforks. They've got to go. And there you have 40 to 60,000 people killed over basically a conspiracy theory, because none of it could be proven. And at the end of the day, how did it end? It ended by that exact same thing. The judges and the lawyers said, we're not going to keep taking these cases because you can't prove it. No. This person in my family died, and they died because of witchcraft, because that woman cast a spell on them. Maybe so. But we can't prove none of this shit. People started waking up and said, okay, maybe the witches do dance in the night with the devil. Nobody's ever seen it. And you cannot prove it in court of law. We don't know if this stuff is happening now. Yeah, maybe your child died. That was horrible. That was a terrible thing. You cannot prove that your child died because this person said, and then eventually the whole thing went away. However, guess what didn't go away? The stain on humanity. The consciousness didn't go away. We didn't clean it and clear it all. That's why I'm here. And I write about this in my book, Confessions of a Christian Witch. If you don't have the books, Confessions of a Christian Witch, get it. If you don't have the Christian Witchcraft series of books, I'll show them to you in a moment. I'm looking over there because they're over here on the cabinet. How to be a Christian Witch, Spellcrafting for the Christian Witch, Magical Prayers for the Christian Witch, Christian Witch's Manifesto. If you don't have these books, get them. And one of the things that I talk about in the book that is my charge and why I am even doing this work is to remove the fear and the stigma around the word witch. You got upstanding, powerful, healing witches that won't even use the word witch. Why? Because it's a wound. It's a collective wound on humanity's soul. So people, when they see you, they're not even seeing you for who you really are. These people that see me, smash up the likes, family. Share. Smash up the likes. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, on the Christian Witches channel and the Valerie Love Kaisi channel. Make sure you follow on Facebook, and Facebook share so we can get to over 10,000 followers on the Facebook fan page, Christian Witches Community on Facebook. I've tried to leave Facebook a few times, but I can't yet. Spirit's like, you still have work to do. I'm like, okay, I'm in, Spirit, I'm in. So follow the Christian Witches Facebook fan page to get it over 10,000. So close, it's close to 10,000. 10,000 Christian witches. Love it, love it, love it, love it. That's right, Central. The word witch is empowerment. It's power. That's what I view the word witch as. Pure, raw power. That can be used for any purpose that you desire. Maybe some people use it for maleficent. Maybe they do. Maybe some people use it for all the vast number of witches that I know. They are about healing. They're about lifting humanity. They're about helping people with crystals or with tarot or with herbs or with essential oils or with prayers or incantations or candle magic. They're writing books. They're uplifting humanity with the magical arts and sciences. I am using magic as the means of ascension. Magic is for ascension. That's what Christ did. And oh my God, how are you saying Jesus did magic? Well, look what he was arrested for. He was arrested for two things: because you're being a sorcerer and you are inciting people to worship other gods. Gods with an S. Very fascinating. You never read that, did you? Read it, study, and you'll find these things out. Let's wrap this up with a pretty bow. We must understand, family, the nuances of the word witch. What did it mean back then? What does it mean now? We must understand what maleficent means. What is that? We must understand the thinking of people in the ancient world. We must also know that in the beginning of magic in the church, the people that were the priests were the ones doing the most magic, especially the high magical arts. Why? Because they had all the implements and they could read. Priests could read. Literary, the literary ability or being literate was not widespread in the ancient world. And even in the 1st and 2nd century, everybody didn't know how to read. People were read to. They came to the town square, you read a scroll from the king, hear ye, hear ye. Okay, I guess that's what it said. They didn't need to read. It wasn't until much later that reading became in the domain of all the people. So who could read the magic books? Who could practice the incantations? Who could get holy water? That, by the way, the holy water had to be made holy in mass. You had to go to a mass. By the way, your magical implements, they had to be consecrated at a mass. So you had people that could consecrate the sword or the amulet or some of the many things that they used in the practice of the high magical arts and sciences. They had to be consecrated at a Catholic mass. So who was doing that? The priests. And the priests offered magical protection. The priests offered a response to maleficent. I'll put it like this. 99 out of 100 people ain't breaking the law. Maybe you have one person that's a criminal. 99 out of 100 witches ain't practicing maleficent. Maybe you have one that is. Okay. And guess what? Even if they are, what does it have to do with you? Because you and your consciousness is what's determining your life. You're not subject to something someone else is doing. But why were people so subject to what other people were doing? Because they believed it. That means they lent their own consciousness and power and energy to that person. Therefore, it worked. Because it's all energy. And this is a whole big consciousness pool, and we're all in this consciousness pool together. I want to end with this. Please study to show thyself approved. Believe no one, not me, not anyone. Do your own research. Take on an investigative study of Christianity, the origins of Christianity, magic, witchcraft, the Bible, ancient texts. Who was Yahweh? Who's God? Origins of some of the things that we now believe. Where did they come from? Because they sure as hell didn't come from God. That's it and that's all. All right. That's why it's important. I'm going to look at some comments before we wrap up. Literacy was huge, right? When we got the Gutenberg, I got to tell you something. Literacy played a very big role in the witch trials and the witch hunts. Why? because they made pamphlets and people could read them. So by the time you got to 14th, 15th, 16th century, 16th, 17th century, especially in Europe. Now, my people were in another part because I'm part African and part Scottish. There's a big part of Scotland there in mine, because I was probably killed in Scotland in a past life, because my lineage is from there. And you want to honor all that's coming to you in your lineage. The other day I was in a room and I was talking about my Scottish heritage and how I was always drawn to Celtic things, and how I was always drawn to the Druids, and I met Druids, and that was my Scottish. It's strumming in your blood, your lineage. Well, part of my lineage is from Benin, Togo, and in that region, and there was Vodun, which through the Middle Passage, coming across through the Caribbean, then you went into Haiti, and then you came into New Orleans, as with voodoo. So there's voodoo, Vodun, also known as voodoo, as it traveled and morphed a little bit. Family, these things morph. They go through people. They meet new people. They get new elements. The core strand of energy remains the same, yet the things morph. Like you have Ifa and Yoruba, it morphed, and because the conquistadors were Catholic, they kind of melded the Catholic saints and the angels with the Orishas, and then you have Santeria. It's beautiful. You must understand that nothing that was written in the Bible is as it is today. Stop taking the Bible as some be-all and no book that I'm supposed to follow every single day. No, you're not. You're supposed to read it and get the good from it, get the wisdom from it, get the jewels from it. You're not supposed to do everything that's in the Bible. The Bible didn't even say do that. Other people told you to do that. So understand that these things morph, and there's this melding that happens as these religious and spiritual currents hit different people. Melding starts to happen, and then you have something new, and people don't want to believe that. And that's exactly how Christianity happened. Christianity didn't come from God. It came from people. And the sooner you get used to that, the better. Christianity as practiced today came from people. And here's how you can tell. People made it up. All of it. And this is how you can tell that people made it up. It's different in 50 different churches. Well, how could 50 different churches be different? They're doing one thing, and they're all Christian. The Catholics are doing one thing. The Seventh-day Adventists are doing something else. The Methodists are doing something else. The Baptists are doing something else. The Pentecostals are doing something else. How are they all doing something different? You can tell that that's not God, even though it's not bad either. Just because I say it's not God doesn't mean that it's not bad, that it's bad. It's not bad. It's wonderful. That's our human ingenuity. That's our, that's our spice on it. Like you could go to a soul food restaurant, you're getting the soul food. You go to a Chinese restaurant, you're getting Chinese food. Go to a Japanese restaurant, you're getting sushi. Guess what? We all three using rice. You got rice at the soul food restaurant, rice at the Chinese restaurant, rice at the sushi joint. You got all different kinds of rice, baby. And how many things can we do with rice? Still rice. So at the bottom of all of this is still spirituality. It's the search for God. It's the search for God. It's our eternal search for God. But you got different flavors. But people want to say their flavor is the only flavor. That's right. No, we right. They all wrong. Okay, that's like going into a soul food restaurant and saying, no, our rice is the only rice you need to eat. Forget about Chinese food rice. Forget about sushi. It's only this kind of rice for you from now on. Matter of fact, we don't even like that Chinese rice. I can't eat fried rice no more? No. Why not? Because you with us. You in the soul. Does that sound ridiculous? You in the soul food restaurant. And around here, we only eat rice with gravy. Okay, but I like fried rice. No. Fried rice ain't nothing but the devil. And you go straight there. But what about sushi? I can't eat no sushi either. No, because they take the rice and they wrap it up. Who ever heard of something like that? You can only have rice and gravy. going to do that? I mean, come on, start to examine some of these things. They don't make sense, family. They don't make logical sense. That's why you have to be illogical to be a fundamentalist Christian. And trust me, I'm not bashing Christians. I don't bash any religion. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm bashing stupidity. I'm stomping on it. Trust me, stupidity goes through all religions and all creeds, all cultures. You can find stupidity in a lot of places. And I'm also bashing closed-mindedness. That's got to go. And I'm also coming for ignorance. Because I heard a quote, and we're going to end with this quote. The quote was from Dr. Bart Ehrman, whom I love to listen to. He's a University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And Dr. Bart Ehrman, he has a lot of interesting things to say. I listen to a lot of scholars. I listen to psychologists. I study what scientists say. I study what archaeologists say. I don't draw my conclusions based on anything anyone says. Then I go within and I reflect and I ask and I meditate. And this is how you start to come to answers, and scales begin to fall from your eyes, and you have a spiritual awakening. And it's an ongoing, beautiful spiritual awakening. You start to see things. That's happened for all of you. Same thing, right? We're all having that experience. Well, here's what Dr. Bart Ehrman said the other day. He said, I find that more people are committed to the Bible than actually becoming knowledgeable about the Bible. Committed to the Bible, knowledgeable about the Bible? Not at all. Where did this book come from? When was the Bible redacted? How was the Bible put together? What about the source documents? What about the Dead Sea Scrolls? What about the Gnostic Gospels? What about the Apocrypha? What about the Pseudepigrapha? What about the Lost Gospels? Know nothing about it. Forget about the Lost Gospels and the Apocrypha. Do they even know about the actual 66 books that they have? Who reads it every day and reads it continually? Very few Christians really read the Bible all the time, and I applaud you if you do. It's beautiful. So, family, the bottom line is this. Ain't nothing wrong with you being a Christian and a witch. I don't care what people tell you. You want to be magical and help people use the Bible, use songs and spells, and help people with their illness and their sickness or whatever the case may be? Do it. You want to read the Bible and have a crystal? Do it. If you needed permission, you have it. Give yourself the permission to be all fully yourself and integrated. I had to integrate my Christian and my witch because they were mad at each other. They were standing like this. Why? Because I myself was filled with judgment about what witch means. That's it. ChristianWitches.com. Get the books. Let me show you the books before we close out. The books, the books, the books. Oh my goodness. The books, the books, the books, the books. I'll show you the books before we close out. Get the books for friends and for family. This one is the hottest seller of all. I tell you one thing. This one sells every single day. Hot, hot, hot. So thousands of copies have sold. I'm blown freaking away. Stays on the bestseller list. How to Be a Christian Witch. And if you haven't, please leave a review, because the Christians will go, you can't be a Christian witch. They will put some hate on something in a minute. So please go and add your voice to the conversation too, because Christians don't have no problem adding their voice to the conversation. This is a conversation we're having. Add your voice to the conversation. This one is the second one, which is Spellcrafting for the Christian Witch. It is paperback and hardcover. Spell book. And then Magical Prayers for the Christian Witch. We do this every full moon and new moon because it has prayers for full moon, new moon, all of it. And then we have Christian Witch's Manifesto, so you can see what my manifesto is and write your own manifesto. So people can't tell me anything because I go on my own search. I'm on my own independent search. You can't tell me anything. Christians can't tell me you're going to hell. Well, they made that up in the 13th century. So now what? If you know the origins of hell, you won't be afraid to go there. People made that shit up too. They made it up. Get over it. I mean, I wasn't sad to find out that they made it up. They made it up. Nowhere in the Old Testament, which is the Hebrew Bible, do you see any concept of hell. Nowhere. Gives you some clues right there. Abraham didn't know nothing about hell. They all spoke of Sheol. Sheol is the grave. You came from the dirt, to the dust you return. It says it. Nobody said anything about that. until much, much, much later. Where did it come from? Go look it up. You can find out all these things. I love you, family. Thank you for hanging with me in this conversation. These are hard conversations, I tell you. And I love them. They're not easy conversations to have. And if you have a hard time talking to the Christians in your life, for the ones who want to know, yeah, Dante made it up. That's right. And Christianity ripped it off. That's right. To keep us alive. I love that witchy pigeon. He totally made it up. And then he had all the levels. And he scared people sufficiently into, oh my God. If it happens, the dude was probably on some LSD, to tell you the honest truth. He was smoking something or he was on something, and he described all the levels of hell and all. It's also in the Gospel of Peter. If you go into the Gospel of Peter, one of the books of the Pseudepigrapha, where, supposedly Jesus took Peter into all these levels of hell, and so showed him this level they're freezing in, this level they were having the skin ripped off, and this level they're hanging upside down from trees, whatever. It's foolishness. And you know what the Christians are saying right now? The Christians are saying right now, oh my God, you're going to believe when you get down there. Okay, whatever. Whatever, dude. Whatever floats your boat. If you want to go about your life traumatized by what could happen when I'm going to take my chances. Let's just say that. I read an incredible meme the other day. It said, look, 1 sin, 100 sins, you going to hell. Either way, man, you might as well commit 1,000,000 sins and come down here a legend. Ain't nobody got time for hell. Come on, live your life. Live your freaking life. Roberto said them levels had us struggling. It was levels to this thing. Wait a minute. This level, this level, this level. Oh my God. Each level is worse and worse. You keep burned, then you stop, you come back. If you burn, how you gonna come back? You already burned. The thing doesn't make sense when you borrow some critical thinking skills. But hey, if people want to be traumatized by hell, let them. For the people that want to be free, send them my videos. And Kaisi, I'll be on Instagram live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time, answering your questions about Christian witchcraft. I freaking love you, family. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Y'all are amazing. To even be publicly seen in this community is courage. I love you. Keep it magical. Kaisi out. Peace. ValerieLove.com and ChristianWitches.com.